Greetings. This is Mike Barnes, and I'm returning back to the project that I was working on a few weeks ago. I got several thousand views. I was trying to show people how they could create their own AI assistant. I started this project because had tried to use OpenClaw, and I found it to be very heavy in token usage. And I also found that it was somewhat insecure and it tended to break a lot. So, as I mentioned before, I have been working with a friend of mine, Randy Hill, on some concepts on how AI can be used in the enterprise. One of the issues that we see is that there's been a lot of money being spent on AI, but there's been very little in terms of real product being delivered. What we see are primarily wrappers, which are basically web pages that use tokens, or you'll see people delivering platforms or tools. So in the case of OpenAI or Claude or Microsoft, these are platform providers. They sell the platform and then they sell tokens, which are the measure of intelligence that people use to fuel their AI. And then the wrappers, if we look at the programs that we use, the CRMs, any of those, they're basically getting their units of intelligence outside, either from OpenAI or from Anthropic or somebody else. And OpenClaw was an attempt to try to provide the ability to create agents and to have the individual be able to harness that power themselves. But in my own use, I found that it was somewhat wasteful of tokens and that it really wasn't producing real work, and that a lot of the tasks were busy work, and you could get them done just as easily by creating a button to do a search. So anyway, I'm coming back with my results. I've put this on GitHub right now, and I'm going to continue to do work. But this is a framework that anyone can use to build what I consider an AI dashboard. And so what we have here is, on the front end, we have what looks like ChatGPT. The difference here is I can fuel this from tokens that I generate on my own machine, or I can use tokens which I get for free, or I can get very cheaply rather than paying high prices with OpenAI. So if I scroll up on my first page here, which is my chat box, I can choose different models. The model that I have here right now is Quinn 3.59b. This is a local model. It's very good at using tools. It's very high performance, and it's also multimodal, which means that it can recognize objects. It can do OCR, and it's primarily for English or Chinese. There are other models that I can pick. Some of these models are cloud-based, and you can run directly from Ollama, and I'll get to that a little bit later. But some very powerful models like Kimi K2.5 or GLM5, which will run in the cloud. Other models that you can run locally. This GPT-20 OSS 20B is very much like ChatGPT 3.0. When it first came out. It's actually built on OpenAI's weights. And then we have a very, very small model up here, which is Quinn 3.5 2B. It's up to you if you want to download these models, but this particular implementation is going to use Ollama as the foundation for this system. So what I'm going to do here is give you a little idea of the tool. So what I've got here are pre-prompted experts that I'm going to be chatting with. So these could be created by you. You could have, for example, I have a legal expert. You might have a doctor. I have an accountant. You might want to have a designer or a script writer. What happens is that these particular experts have been prompted in such a way that frames their answers to be specific to a certain area rather than, like, for example, if I say the word apple, uh, most people will probably think of a fruit, but some people might think of a computer. If I were to use a prompt that says you're a gardener, what is an apple? The AI is going to give you a different answer than if I say you're a computer tech, what is Apple? So this is how, by using prompts, you can frame the output. Over here, I'm going to explain this a little bit later. I'm going to give you a brand context. So we're going to create a brand voice, and I'm going to show that's done. And when I click on that, the answers will be using a knowledge base, which I've created for any of these brands in order to frame the question or to draw information. So I can set up tasks. Down here, I've got this. This here means that I'm going to be searching the web. I can turn this on or off. This button here allows me to take an image. I can upload an image, and that image will be described. I can also upload a document, and I can then communicate with the document. And then I have a microphone for transcription and a voice, which happens to be somewhat robotic. But I have this thing set up so that it'll go out and give me reports. So I'll ask it, give me a report on news about open claw, and then I'll hit return. And then while it's doing its research, I'll start showing you other pages here. The next page is a calendar. And on the calendar, what I can do is I can create an event, and that event will go into the database, and I can create a ticker file for tasks that I want to be to have done. I can have it generate a note on a certain date. I can use this to schedule certain things to be done, and it also will give me an ICS file, which I can now link up to another calendar. So if I go here, as I say, I can change the time, the date, and download the ICS, save the event. Everything goes into, is contextualized. It goes through a vectorization process, and then it's loaded into an SQL database. I have what I call SQLite. Next area here is, this is a note-taking system that I can use to basically drop information into, and this information will find its way into the database. I can export what I write here to the calendar, and it will, for example, let's say I have an email, and the email talks about an appointment. I can just copy that email into this note, export it to the calendar, and it'll make a calendar note. And I can flag these as different colors, and also I can discuss here. And this thing is designed to work very similar to what Notepad does right now. I can have multiple notes here. This is something that we can use to basically do a certain type of writing. And what's unique about this is that we can create our own templates because we have full control over it. So I put my text down here, and I want to say, basically input text will be 3 little pigs, right? And then I obviously wouldn't want to simplify that, but I could elaborate on that. And then here I have the model Quinn.359B, which is running local on my machine, and it would take care of that. So as I go down the list here, I've got different forms. So you can create your own form. These forms can interface with the database if you wanted to. And I also have basically a preview or a canvas that we can use. And we can use this to visualize web pages, or we can use it to create landing pages, a sales pipeline. So for example, I want to see them. So I generated a CRM sales pipeline dashboard with deal stages, and it's going to basically generate the image and the code for that. I don't want to use up a whole lot of time showing you the stuff running, but as I'm talking, you'll see that this will pop up when the AI has generated the HTML code that generates this image. So this would be useful in creating web page forms. It could be tied back to your database. It could be the foundation for any kind of display that you want to do, and you can put in whatever variables that you want. And so here's just some of the pre-prompted things that I've got in here. The instructions are, you describe your user interface, use the AI to enable the LLM that will generate custom HTML base on your description. And then you can select a SQLite table to generate forms to save the data directly into the database. So you could use this as to create an order entry system. You could use it to input contacts, and then everything is set up here that we can communicate with each of these pages and each of these applications through an API. So we could literally tie this into, let's say, a Notion or Slack or HubSpot or any service that has an AI and work that way. So here we see the dashboard that was created. I can go full screen with that, and this is gives you the ability to easily create your own forms. Now, I talked earlier about brand, and so I have two companies here that I created for knowledge base. My wife has a company called Boomy Zesty Foods, which sells African sauces and seasonings, and she actually produces them, not just sells them. So what I was able to do is I can upload, like, say, slick sheets, brands, write-ups, and I can also add her website here, and then the AI will contextualize it. It'll take that information and put it into the database. And so now when I point back to the brand voice when I'm chatting, it will have the context to use the right, it'll know what the products are, it'll know what the company is. And so I'm not going to basically have to say your name, your address, and fill all that in and change it whenever I'm working with the system. So now I'm going to go to the office. Now this is something that is also quite unique. Once again, I can select the model that I want to use. I've got lots of different models. These are local. I can run them on my GPU. I happen to have a 5090 RTX 5090 running on my laptop, but most people won't have that. So we can pick a cloud-based model. Now, one of the things I'll talk about here is that if we use Ollama, they renew your tokens every week, and you can get quite a lot of tokens for free. And even if you don't have a GPU, some models will run on a CPU. And one of the models that runs on Ollama is called Gemma 2B, 2 billion parameters. That one will run without a GPU. So you could literally run it locally on your laptop. So let me pick a GLM5, which is quite a good model. And I want to enter the title here. And what I'll do is I'm going to use a PowerPoint for this one. And I'm going to say, create a blank sales forecast presentation for management without data or with only placeholders. Okay, and then describe what I want. I want a template to use for management presentations for for sales forecasts. Okay, and then so now what I'm going to do is I can now pick. I'll do Boomy Zesty Foods. So because I've selected this, it's now going to have the data from Boomy Zesty Foods. Now, when you're using ChatGPT or you're using most other models, what happens is that you ask for it to write you a letter or write a presentation. It's going to give you something that you have to copy and paste. But in this system that I've created, what it's going to actually do is it's going to generate the presentation and literally download it. And now it just did that. So I downloaded it to my download file, and now it's bringing up my presentation software. And as you can see, it generated a presentation. And as you notice, if you read the context here, it picked up the brand name from Boomy Zesty Foods. It talked about SKUs and categories, which is something that you would put in a food product. It talks about let's see, something else that's more specific: marketing shifts, consumer spending. So it knows. So if I were to say create a sales pipeline in ChatGPT and it didn't know anything about me, it wouldn't know about supply chain, ingredient sourcing, competitive pressures, and market shifts. So just with a very short prompt, I now have the presentation that I can add a theme. I can go in and edit, and as you saw, it was done in just a few seconds. So this actually opened up a separate program, and I can do. And as I said here, we can do this with. We can do this for the spreadsheet. We can do this for the Word. It's got the Office tools here. I just pick what I want. And here's, once again, I showed you this before with the canvas. The system here allows me to set up tasks that are scheduled. I can stop, I can restart, and then security. I'm now patching all these. There's a lot of potential with AI to do what's called prompt injection. So I have an engine in here that goes through and look. If you see down here where it says security findings, I have I've got to sanitize all the user input, including in the prompts. Use structured templates with escaped placeholders. So I can run this scan. I'm resetting all these risks. You see, I got 489 critical risks, and then 178 medium risks. And then I showed this before. I can now enter in my Telegram token, and then I'll be able to control the system from my phone. Go back here to the home page, and this is where I can enter in tasks. Now, I wanted to show everybody how this was done, how this is set up, how we can modify it. All right, so here I have my PowerShell, and in the PowerShell, I am running a program called Open Code. If you go to Ollama's website, it will tell you that one of the programs that it can interface to is Open Code. So let's go to Ollama, and as you can see here, this will show you my cloud usage. I'll come back to that a little bit later. We'll go to the front docs. Okay, so what I want to do is there are some integrations. So if we go into integrations, it'll give you different integrations that it can do, and one of them is Open Code. So this will give you instructions on how to install Open Code right here, and you have your choice of whether you want to use curl or what do you want to how you want to install it. But once you've done that, and assuming that you already have Ollama installed, you just basically copy this, go back to your PowerShell, and it will run Open Code. And so Open Code then will now use tokens from Ollama. Those tokens can be local. Now here I can go in and I can change the model. You can see what models that I have. And so right now I'm using GLM5 on the cloud. And as I said, these tokens are free. up to a certain point. I don't know how many, but I think probably 1 million tokens a week might be about right. But I decided that I was going to go ahead and pay for $20 because doing projects like this, I use up the tokens very quickly. But rather than spending hundreds of dollars buying tokens from OpenAI or from Anthropic's, I'm spending $20 a month, and I used only free tokens and tokens from Ollama Cloud to build this system. So what I want to show you here is what I've done is I've gone to the directory that I've created this in, and it is and to build this system, essentially what I do is I just talk to open code, which then uses the LLM to build things. So I will say something like, please check for obvious errors in the system. And these are being powered through Ollama, and it's now going out and testing to look for errors in my system. I built this essentially by describing to open code what I wanted to do, not knowing any code, and allowing the LLM to build it. I used two different LLMs predominantly. One is this GLM5, which I find to be one of the best at doing coding. And another one I use is Kimi 2.5, which talks, behaves, and acts a lot like Claude. And they both have their weaknesses and strengths, but they're both top notch. But if you have a powerful enough GPU, you can load your own system locally. By the way, when we were running the stuff that we've been running so far, most of it has been using local LLMs. So as you can see here, it's just going off and doing its thing right here. And let's see here, thinking critical, to dos. These are the sort of fix me some of the errors. So I have a feature that I want to add. One of the things I want to point out here is that unlike OpenClaw, where the system does its own programming, I go through this system. So if I want to add a feature or if I want to fix something, I don't let the model do it, the system do it itself. I find that it's too risky because it winds up breaking itself. Instead, like here, we can get an example here. It wants to do something, but it's going to do something that is a major change. So I'm going to always allow it, and I'm going to confirm that choice. And so it's going off. It's found some errors. It's doing some debugging, and it's doing it on its own. You could use this methodology using Ollama, using it with open code to build almost anything that you want to build. You can build your games, web pages, your own CRM. If you have an idea of what it is that you want to build, you can build it without knowing any code, without doing any programming. So anyway, I am going to be publishing a book that will take, and I'm going to make it Creative Commons. I'm not going to try to make any money off of this. And I'm going to publish it that will show how to build this AI assistant. I'm also will be putting this out on GitHub so that you can download the files. I'm still debugging them, and I want to make sure that what you have is a fully workable system. But to summarize, the system that I have built gives you a AI dashboard that gives you all your tools, access to all your information in one place. It collects information, it stores it into a database so that it's organized, and it continuously, with the use of open code, improves itself, adds features, and updates constantly. And all of this can be done for free using your local LLMs or using the free tokens that you get from OpenAI. You could also use Open Router, which also has free tokens. Or you can pay $20 a month, cancel your ChatGPT subscription, and get more work done. So anyway, I'd like to thank you for listening to this bite-sized AI, trying to keep you relevant in an AI world. Out. See you next time.